talk to us today about why we are here and the urgency of now. Why we are here and the urgency of now. Is this mic working? Okay. I'd like to begin first, though, by welcoming all of you to the Resurgence 2023 Campaign Conference. We are grateful for the partnership and the sponsorship. It's very important to what we do. You strategic partners, we thank you. I'm not going to call names because I get in trouble. All of the volunteers, we thank you. All of the staff who helped to make this so successful, we thank you. And mostly, and without a doubt, most certainly, to the visionary, Reverend Dr. Dennis Dillon, we thank you. After COVID and so many other damaging social issues, and there have been a lot of them, they have closed the doors of many of our businesses, never to open again. This is the time for us to be here. It is the time for us to come together. Dr. King told us in the movement that we must come together as brothers or perish together as fools. This is the time. We believe that together we can change this rapidly changing environment in our community. The revival of small black and brown businesses is just too important for us to ignore for such a time as this. It is imperative that we act now to increase the common good. We must focus on the economic development and growth of small black and brown businesses, with so many in our communities unemployed due to COVID. Resurgence 2023 campaign is a direction that we must all take. It's the way that we must all go if we are to survive as a people. The pandemic has caused irreparable harm. We cannot deny that. It has closed too many doors in our faces that will never open again without collective economic resources. When doors of businesses in black and brown communities have disproportionately closed due to the emergence of COVID, when blacks are denied a mortgage 84% more often than whites, this is the time when the rate of unemployment in black communities is higher than it has ever been. This is the time when blacks are facing substantial economic hardships at significantly higher rates than their white counterparts. This is the time. Abstract awareness and theoretical, my God, awareness and abstractions will not help us. It is not enough to have abstract awareness. It is not enough to have theoretical abstractions. We have to do more than that. We've got to get involved. Resurgence 2023 campaign has come in the urgency of the moment to level the playing field, to provide networking opportunities for small black and brown owned businesses, financial assistance, and business management training with a clear vision and goal to revitalize black businesses. Not just for themselves now, though, brothers and sisters. We get confused sometimes. Not just for ourselves, but for our communities. It is for the goal of our communities. I'm going to get out of the way in a moment. Small black and brown businesses are the anchors in our communities. We all know that. Resurgence 2023 has brought us here to improve economic stability and to provide incentives that will breathe life into struggling black and brown businesses. Without the ability to access much needed resources, much needed capital, minority business often face struggling hardships. And they are suffering because of these hardships. Adequate access to capital is essential to small businesses, but unfortunately, small black and brown businesses don't have equal access to capital. That's why it is urgent that we act now. The lack of funding has been an ongoing issue for small black and brown businesses, and the disparities have been especially heightened because of the COVID pandemic. Resurgence 2023 campaign has brought clergy, government, banks, community development corporations, chambers of commerce, SBS, SBA, the mayor's office. They're here together to work to improve access to capital for small black and brown businesses and to ensure greater equality of opportunities for small black and brown entrepreneurs. And all of us here today, grateful for the social justice laws that was passed on November the 8th right here in New York. Access is the lifeblood of any business, but especially small black and brown businesses. Without adequate resources, there can be no growth. And let me interject here that because of fear of rejection, many small black and brown businesses would rather close the doors than face rejection, because they will more likely, more often be denied access. Access to capital remains the most important factor limiting the growth and development of small black and brown business. This current environment has placed a greater burden on minority entrepreneurs who are trying to keep their business thriving in today's economy. Small black and brown businesses do not have a safety net. They don't have generational wealth. They are the first in their families more often to start a business. Their friends are not rich. They cannot borrow loans from their friends. Their families do not have money. So what happens? They would rather have their doors closed. That's sad. By supporting Resurgence 2023 campaign conference with much needed resources, Randy, you are helping to change abstract to stract. That's what you're doing here with your presence. You are a forerunner in the creation. Oh, Lawrence, you are a forerunner in the creation of black wealth. But not just black wealth, permanent black wealth. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the legitimacy and the trust that you give to the Resurgence 2023 campaign. And let's get busy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Mans. Thank you. Wow, that's a good clarion call, isn't it? It's a good way forward. And I want to stress, she talked about Resurgence 2023, and this is how serious we are about that. We're in 2022, so this is not the resurgence. This is just the beginning of a resurgence movement. Everybody got it? This is the beginning of a resurgence movement. So we're looking forward, and we're excited about that as we journey forward. We're trying to just hold just for the mayor to come so we could hear from him. Then we're going to break up and we're going to have 2 sessions, one over here and one in the next room. But let me just ask a couple of folks just to come and share a little bit very, very quickly. These are men that I've known for a while, and their work is just awesome and amazing. The first happens to be the president for the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. And I forgot which committee I used to serve on with the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, Randy Pierce, but that's a lot of years ago. That's 20-something years ago. But Randy Pierce, ladies and gentlemen, the president CEO for the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, we thank them for their partnership and their sponsorship. I want to also say, you think you could make that? Oh, you're good. They also do micro loans. So if you may talk about it, but I'm just going to put it out there so that everybody know where the resources are and how to access those resources, as Reverend Mans just shared. Thank you. Randy Pierce, let's put our hands together for him again.
Here I am, wedged between Reverend Mans and that incredible speech, and the mayor. I'm on a panel too, so I'll keep it relatively brief. The actionable, in my opinion, is we have to change the underwriting criteria to reflect the realities that our businesses face. Collateral, guarantors, and credit scores. The 3 evils that keep many black businesses from accessing capital. Look, we had a vision. It was early on in COVID, just when the pandemic was hitting. We didn't know when it was going to be over. We didn't know what was going to be available. But we had 2 ideas. Number 1, when we do reopen, businesses are going to need support on the ground in the community. They're not going to go travel downtown to a government center or anything in order to access support. We had to be there sometimes 2 and 3 times before they trust us to access what is they are entitled to. So we created the Small Business Resource Network, all 5 chambers, not just the Brooklyn Chamber. And when we reopened, we deployed business recovery specialists in every community across the board, and it was case management 101. We borrowed it from social services. We were the outreach and the assessment team. We created the service plan, and we made the connection. But here's the second thing. Brooklyn Chamber had a CDFI, chartered in 2017. We never had 2 nickels to lend up until COVID. We knew that businesses were going to get shut out for whatever reasons. We know how government programs are structured. We know what the 3 evils are. And I said, look, we need a new way. And it just so happened, in the wake of the George Floyd murder, and Brooklyn became the epicenter here on the East Coast for the protests and the outrage. The Joe and Clara Tsai Foundation, owners of the Brooklyn Nets and the Barclays Center, made a commitment, right? The Social Justice Fund, $50 million to invest in the community to address racial justice. And I was called to a Zoom meeting about access to capital. And I said, I got 1 shot at this. I had 1 shot to make the case. And someone on the call said, you know, a lot of minority-owned businesses, was minority, I didn't say black-owned, but minority-owned businesses, the reason they closed permanently because they didn't have a cushion. They didn't have reserve capital. And I said, wait a minute. I said, the reason a lot of businesses close permanently, because we shut them down. Government shut them down. Now, yeah, it was COVID. It was a health crisis. We get it. But these businesses were cutting hair, baking cocoa bread, running a restaurant in the community for decades, for generations. Yeah, they didn't access PPP because they got bad advice about their tax filings. Their payroll wasn't as verifiable. But they ran a successful business for decades. And I said, look, if you really truly want to address social justice for these businesses, we got to change the underwriting criteria. And the conversation, as usual, went back and forth, and everyone had different opinions, and people brought up the risks. And finally, I got the last word. I said, what they really need is the damn money. I think I said damn. But we won the day. So $2.5 million was carved out of the Social Justice Fund to provide Brooklyn Accelerate Loan Program. Brooklyn Chamber's a microlender. We do 0 to 15K, 0 interest. True Fund goes up to 100K, 2%. Character-based lending. So pastors in the community, community board chairs, not elected officials, but community board chairs, someone of other entrepreneurs of stature vouch for the business, and they get the money. And we eliminated the 3 evils. We've done $1.8 million in recovery loans so far, so we still got some more to go. So if you know businesses that were operating prior to the pandemic and need that type of support, just have them contact us. And with that, I am turning it back to my good friend, Reverend Dillon.
Thank you, Randy. Come on, let's put our hands together. No, y'all can do better than that. Let's put our hands together. Thank you. Thank you so much, Randy. I just want to quickly, I see the mayor's in the house. Let's put our hands together for the mayor. All right, everybody feeling good? Everybody getting good information? Getting excited about your business? All right, beautiful. I just want to acknowledge another guest that's in the house. I'm just going to have him right before the mayor comes, just to come and briefly just greet us. This is international. We have a delegation here from the Ivory Coast. Those who flew from the Ivory Coast to be here, raise your hands. Thank you. Pastor Joel all the way in the back, and Pastor Felix, the president for Onyx University in Abidjan, that's also in the house. We're going to hear from them later on and on tomorrow. But we have the Consul General of the Republic of South Africa that is in the house. Come on, let's put our hands together for South Africa that's in the house. I'm just going to ask him to just briefly share right before the mayor comes, and that is the Honorable Dr. Tawana. Let's put our hands together for Dr. Tawana as he comes and as he shares briefly. He's also, by the way, the chair of the Council of African Consuls General. All 53 countries. Let's put our hands together for him briefly.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Reverend Dennis Dillon. It's quite an honor to address you this morning. And I thank the program director for the wonderful job that she has done so far. And it's an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to speak just before the most important man in the city, Mayor Eric Adams, a true inspiration for all of us and the people of Africa and South Africans, a true champion and partner for the people on the African continent and those of us that are here in the diaspora. Thank you, Mayor, for coming, and I wish not to take too long and keep you from hearing the wonderful message that the Mayor plans to convey. But overall, on behalf of the African Consuls General Group that is based here in New York, and the South African Consulate General, the over 1 billion people, African people on the African continent, the 60 million people in South Africa, it's an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to address you and to support the wonderful effort that Reverend Dennis Dillon, through the Resurgence Project, has been working on. We are your true supporters and partners. You addressed us as the African Consuls General Group on Monday to ensure that we partner with you. We ensure that going forward we participate in events that concern people of the African diaspora, activities that support building better Black business, working closely with people of African descent and Black people in general. So it's quite an honor and a privilege to be part of this important resurgence activity. There are important synergies between ourselves as a people from the African continent, Black business on the African continent, Black business in the United States. There are these synergies that we need to explore and exploit, ensure that you invest in Africa, we invest as Africans in the United States, and ensure that there are partnerships between various people, businesses, cities, and so on. Recently, our mayor, I will call him our mayor, Mayor Adams, met with our mayor from Johannesburg and discussed rebuilding or reigniting a partnership since 2003 between the great cities of Johannesburg and the city of New York. So it's in the spirit that we pledge to work closely with you as the Resurgence movement, as people in the African diaspora, as Black people, as a New York City and African people in the United States. It is in the spirit that we want to work with you annually to ensure that these synergies are exploited and made the most of, that we rebuild the bonds that bind, and that we fulfill the mission, the historic mission that we have. We cannot betray the mission of succeeding as a people. We are winners as a people, and victory is ours. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McKenzie. Thank you, Tawana. Much appreciated. Listen, the mayor has a very tight schedule. We appreciate him coming. We know the commitment that he has to help fuel the growth of Black-owned businesses. I just want to say that throughout the next 2 days, the mayor has committed about 4 or 5 city agencies that will be here. The mayor's Office of Contracts, for those who are looking to do business with City Hall, will be here. Of course, the Office of Community of Faith-Based and Community Partnership, we heard from the director earlier on. The commissioner for the Department of Small Business Services will be here tomorrow, and we're hoping that the commissioner or someone representing HPD will be here as well. We're delighted that we have with us the mayor of the city of New York, and we're grateful for his commitment. Let's put our hands together and receive the Honorable Eric Adams.
Thank you so much, and you know the rule. You don't stand for me, I stand for you. You know, I'm elected to serve, not to be served, and you know the relationship I have with Pastor Dillon goes back almost 30 years, and he has been just a visionary in this area, particularly around the conversation of Black church mean business. I remember the first event he had at the Javits Center, talking about the importance of the Black church and engaging the Black church in business. And so I just want to thank you personally for your guidance, for your friendship, for your vision throughout the years on actually, elevating this conversation. And look at where we are now today. When you think about it, we just had an election. Congresswoman Best just became the mayor of Los Angeles. That means the 4 major cities in America are headed by black mayors. 4 of the major cities. 11 of the top cities are headed by people of color. But we don't have to look at a national perspective. We could just look at a local perspective and just do an analysis. The public advocate is a person of color. The leader of the council is a person of color. The leader of the state senate is a person of color. The leader of the assembly is a person of color. The AG is a person of color. The DA in Brooklyn is a person of color. The DA in the Bronx is a person of color. The mayor of the city is a person of color. All of this chocolate, now the question is, what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? And I'm going to keep saying this over and over and over again. The trilogy of successful movement is agitation, negotiation, legislation. You've done your job of agitating and negotiating. That's how we got here. You know, we go to your houses of worship, your pulpits. We ask you to encourage people to vote for us. Now we're here. What are we going to do with what we need to do while we're here? What is our legacy? What is our legacy? And that's the question that we need to ask all of this power that we have. We need to identify a clear blueprint on how do we move from where we were to where we need to go. And we have to get in the room to do that. Because if our energy of using the power you prayed for, you hoped for, you marched for, you fought for, if it's to use it to combat each other and fight among each other, then it was a waste of everything we fought for. This is a moment for us, and the window will close. The window will close, and we can't look over this moment and say what we should have done, what we could have done. We have over a $20 billion budget in the city. When you look at the state, the billions of dollars that are allocated in the state, we're seeing development go through the city. We're seeing contracts go through the city. There must be a real formidable plan put in place on how do we ensure that our communities are part of the development and the spending of goods and resources in the city. And the only way we could do that is for all of us to be in the room and sit down and navigate a course forward. And if we don't do that in a real way, then we're missing this opportunity. We're missing this place. And as the mayor of the city, we're bringing on a new chief diversity officer who has done a great job in the MTA in doing that. Michael Gardner, some people know him. He's solid as a rock, and he has a real mission to modernize our system and bring a real-time analysis so we don't wait each year and say, oops, we missed the goal and missed the target. We want to make sure that we are forward-thinking. But when we say black church mean business, it's something that my mom used to say to me all the time. Baby, handle your business. Handle your business. Black church mean business is not only what we are selling and what goods and services we're providing, but it's handling our business. It's doing a real analysis of how we're using our property to develop housing, senior housing. I see Erica is here, one of the best developers I know that's focused on black church development. Sitting down and having her do a presentation, how to look at your existing footprint. Some of you have air rights. You could do senior housing one on top. You may have a lot next door. Pastor Morose is putting in place an initiative where we want you to have the first dibs to those lots that are on your block or next door to do real housing. We get a better return on our investment when the church does the development than if you go to an outside entity that's doing it for profit and not doing it for people. But if we come to you to get it done, your business got to be straight. We should already be starting local community-based development companies right inside. And there's some great people who have done it already. Let's bring them in and find out how to do it in the same way. We're going to bring in all of the agencies you need. You need HBD? HBD will be here. You know, what you need, we're going to utilize the city resources to give you the information so you can play in this game while I'm here as the mayor, and then fortify your foundation so no matter who's the mayor, we'll understand the process, how to navigate the complexities of doing business with the city. Sometimes they make it hard to discourage you to move forward. We're going to have a different customer relationship with city government in this city because you are my customers. You're the constituency. We need a better product to allow you to access what government has to offer, and that's the goal. I did not get here to continue the things that were done historically. I got here because of Matthew 21:12, when Jesus walked in the temple and he saw them doing wrong in the temple. He didn't sit at the table. He turned the table over. I went to City Hall to turn the table over. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I want to call up Reverend Larry Hammond. He is and you're about to listen to this presentation. Listen to what he has to say. This is so key, so important, and on so many levels. He is the Senior Vice President for Community Preservations Corporation. They've got a special initiative called Access, very similar to the Access that we've been talking about. And he's going to be the final speaker here. Let's put our hands together for Reverend Larry Hammond. Come on, put your hands together for him.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to give honor this afternoon, I think it's afternoon, yes, to this wonderful work that Reverend Dillon and his staff are doing, especially Reverend Mans, who reached out to me earlier in this Resurgence 2023 to get the support from the Community Preservation Corporation. We are a CDFI not-for-profit organization established in 1974 here in New York. Over our almost 48 years history, we've provided approximately $13 billion in construction financing, predominantly in communities of color throughout the entire state.
Did you say 13 billion?
Yes, 13 billion. 13 billion translating into about 220,000 units, affecting about 1.1 million people or households. And so we are a significant lender of choice, specifically around community development and around affordable housing, primarily here in New York State. We also have a mortgage company that gives us a national presence throughout the country, providing both Freddie and Fannie permanent debt. But the purpose of my being here today is, as we all know, approximately 2.5 years ago, this nation went through a reckoning. And you know, I'm also a preacher, so I realized that it was a Kairos moment, a moment within a moment, that we took advantage or were on the precipice of taking advantage of opportunities that we may not have often been able to take advantage of. And so it was that as a result of the George Floyd murder, and that is what it was, a lot of awareness was raised throughout the country through civil protests and social justice initiatives. And CPC, we realized that when we looked at who we were lending to in communities of color, we realized that it was a small percentage of Black and brown developers that we were actually impacting, those who were stakeholders within the communities. And so through our own efforts, we took $40 million from our own finances. We didn't go out and fundraise. We took our own resources to put our money where our mouth is, and we created an initiative called Access, which is acquiring capital capacity for economic stability and sustainability, something that, as a preacher, was divinely ordained upon me during a moment of my own meditation. And I gave it to the company and said, hey, let's utilize this as a platform. And as a result of that, they put myself and my colleague who is here with me, Wilhelmina Norman, in charge of this initiative. And what we've been able to do over the last 2 years is really impactful. One, we educate, we advocate, we innovate, and we invest. When we talk about education, we are looking at novice developers and giving them the tool sets that they need to be successful, so that when they walk into a financial institution, and doesn't necessarily have to be CPC, although we would want, when they walk into a Chase or a TD Bank or Capital One or a Citibank, that they will have the necessary tools that will position them to access finance and resources. And so we've created an incubator series where we've taken approximately 62 people from all over the state through this, and now this is becoming a feeder, because one of the things that we really want to be intentional about, and I think it's important, the intentionality, that we want to diversify the industry. As we know, developers are predominantly white males in this industry, and we want to change the script and to be able to bring more diversity. And so I'll talk more about what we're doing during some of our panels, but we're excited to be a sponsor here, and I will turn it back over to Reverend Dillon.
Thank you so much, Larry, and thank you for your partnership and your sponsorship. I need everybody, and I see folks taking detailed notes. And we've been doing this a long time. I could kind of just give you a long list of successes that have grown out of these conferences. I remember years ago, I'll tell everybody a Black Church Means Business conference story. We were at the Brooklyn Marriott. They just opened the first major conference at the the Brooklyn Marriott was done by the Christian Times. And we had Bank of America that was sitting right here at their booth, and there was Golden Cross right next door, and I got them to meet together. And one of the largest loans ever negotiated for black businesses in the city, probably to this very day. You know, in terms of a small business, not the big guys that they might be located in New York, but they're not really a New York business, was done right at that table, right in that room. So the opportunities are here. All of the resources and the opportunities are here. That's what this is all about. So here's what I want everybody to do. I need you guys to take a very short break. The pitches. Okay, we're going to do the pitches, and then right after the pitches, I'll come back and I'll announce the break and how we're going to flow. So ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the President CEO for ELN. Let's put our hands together. That's Empowered Lifestyle Network, one of our media partners. All of the live streaming, by the way, if you don't have ELN, you need to get ELN. They've got their own app and everything. So download the ELN app even right now. Let's put our hands together for Charmaine Lopez.
Thank you. Okay, guys, I am so excited to be here today. I want to transfer my excitement to you. So I'm going to ask everyone right now to clap. Actually energizes your body and gives you energy. So yeah, that's why when you go to football games, the basketball games, people are clapping and they get more and more excited. That's why. So we're going to stay excited today. Amen. So I want to just ask you, if you haven't downloaded the app yet, please download the Empowered Lifestyle Network app. You can find it in the App Store, whether you have Apple or you have Android. You can go to Google Play. If you have Amazon, you can go to the Amazon store. We're also there. If you have a Roku television at home, you can download it on Roku, and of course, Apple TV. So that's all the places where you can watch this conference. We're going to have this conference. It's live right now, but of course we're going to restream it because the information today has just been extremely, extremely powerful. So because it's so powerful, I want to make sure that we give access to our vendors and exhibitors that are here today to give their pitches. Because what are we here to do today but to support each other's businesses, right? Let's clap. We're gonna transfer this energy. Clap. And so we have some amazing vendors and exhibitors here today. They are here, they're here to do business. Because this is a Black Church Means Business conference, they're here to do business, and they need your support. I'm gonna say that again, they need your support. Okay, so I want you to commit before you leave this space today that you will support those vendors and exhibitors that are here today. You're going to take out your card and you're gonna tap it, as Mr. Malik St. Hilaire stated earlier. You're gonna tap the card and support these vendors because they are here to do business and they want to do business with you. So we're gonna clap on that. So I'm going to start with the first vendor that I'm gonna ask to come up, and they're gonna do their 60 seconds, guys, 60-second pitch. And let me start with Ms. Shayna. I'm going to ask you to come on up. And please, if I don't have your card, I can't call your name, so make sure I have your card. Okay, and Shayna's going to give us her pitch. And again, she's here to do business. So listen to this beautiful lady as she shares.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Morning. Thank you so much, Reverend, for the opportunity to partner with the event. My name is Shauna Heath, and I am an entrepreneur based out of Queens, New York. We have several businesses and 2 offices located in Jamaica, Queens. I am the co-founder of the Tax Shop, the owner of the Shauna Heath Agency and lead broker, and also I am the co-partner or co-founder and the CEO of the SAJ Heritage Group. And the SAJ Heritage Group was birthed out of the need to provide insurance and wealth management products to understand the emerging communities that often get overlooked by traditional brokerages and financial institutions. So we have over 50 years of experience in insurance, wealth management, and tax mitigation. We understand the unique needs of small businesses, institutions, families, and individuals. And we take a really holistic approach to your financial needs. So thank you so much.
Right, yes. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you. We're gonna clap again. We are the energized. All right, our next 60-second commercial is going to come from Mr. Wayne Powell of Smile for Life Security Protection. I want you to know that this entire event today is being secured by Mr. Wayne Powell.
Good afternoon, all. And thank you, Reverend Dillon, for having, and Reverend Mann for having such a wonderful group of people and resources. My name is Wayne Powell, and I am the founder and CEO of Smile for Life Security Protection Corporation, which was created in February 2021 in the midst of the pandemic. We are a New York State licensed watch guard patrol company. I realized the need for security and the need for jobs in our community. My training in the New York State Supreme Court as a court officer, then court clerk, prepared me for this God-inspired opportunity to bring jobs and hope to the youth, which may be students in our community. The Smile for Life slogan is, we provide hope and change of life. This unique opportunity to bring retired law enforcement officers to train security guards provides them inspiration and the opportunity to aspire into other law enforcement areas. It will also provide the opportunity to acquire equity and property. I would like to thank Reverend Dillon and Reverend Mann for their vision in creating Resurgence 2022 and bringing together all these wonderful people and resources in this room. I was fortunate enough to be at the Bedford Service and Restoration in June when our Vice President, Kamala Harris, delivered the powerful new economic development program to build back Black America and the need to and the need for access to capital to invest into small minority-owned businesses like mine, so I can invest in uniforms, equipment, inventory, and make other payrolls. I'm going to quick fast. In closing, as I look around the room, the energy and potential for financially support a company like mine is inspiring and encouraging to know that my company may become a Fortune 500 company, and that's what we need.
That's
all
right. We are painting visions.
As we look around the skyline, we don't see that we have black businesses in America, and this is New York City. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So we got security, we got finance, and now we are going to, I'm going to call Mr. MC Owen to come and share with us 60 seconds, and he's going to share his business.
Thank you, thank you. What happened to the clapping?
Let's clap.
Come on, y'all, come on. Listen, my name is Mick. You can call me Mick. But I want to ask you a question. How many of you own gold? How many of you have gold right now? Okay? If you don't have gold, you're going to want to invest in gold. You want to get with 7K. Okay? 7K is about bullion buying. Silver, gold for your personal use. Okay? For your personal banking. For your personal stability. Okay? So when you come and you sit with us at our table, we're going to sit and we're going to speak with you about your family's legacy. How you can invest in gold, how you can invest in silver, so that when, not if, but when the dollar falls, you will still have something that you can use as collateral to do the things you need to do. You never know how much a tomato's going to cost. But if they're not taking dollars and you got a bucket full of dollars, it doesn't matter. But if you got gold, or you've got silver, or you're invested with 7K as a member, you just might be able to make it. So please speak with us today. And you guys have a wonderful time in New York. It's my first time in New York. I see everybody looks familiar.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mr. MC Owens. So let's clap, guys. Okay. So one thing I want to say is we had 3 businesses represented. We're going to do this again throughout the day today and into tomorrow. And the goal again is to make sure that we know the businesses that are here represented. Everyone, all of the businesses that are here made a commitment to be here. And that means that they are investing in their business, so we want to make sure that we're investing in them.